Are you ready? I was born ready.
Obviously, you're a little, aggravated by the line of questioning regarding Canelo.
I don't want to touch this, dude is so bad, I don't want to touch his name.
I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Can you be with me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because when he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just, I hate that guy. I'm scared of it.
It would be awesome to, being a great war, maybe with a Mexican. I have to put the joke.
No. Hey, thank you. Perfect for playing, man. I appreciate
Good
you.
timing, man.
Can't put predictions, man, but I definitely don't want to leave it to the judges.
Chicos, ya. Multro, ven acá. En la barriga.
Mira, whoa, wepa, buenos días, good morning, Sunday recap, as always, aquí con Long Live Boxing en Vivo Podcast, Money, siempre en vivo, Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa. Where's Hopper?
Always breaking it down like it is, like it should be. Our boy Hopper is on a well-deserved vacation with his family. We are jealous. Hope he's having a good time, and I'm sure he is having a good time. We miss you, brother. But we're here to break it down ourselves. Great week in the boxing. And, we still hear that Molusco in our background.
Yeah, we got some Molusco going on. It's going down. Shout out to Molusco.
Damn, Molusco.
We'll probably tag this and we'll probably get a lot of views. Thank you very much.
Emotional, damn it.
Let's get to it. Boxing's good sometimes.
Sometimes. What do you mean?
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. All right, so, but we want to talk about, let's not bury the lead, as my brother Hopper would say. The future of boxing from Grand Prairie, Texas. Do you even know what Grand Prairie is?
Outside of Dallas, right?
Yeah, he knew that, but he didn't know the fighter. But we do. Talking about the man, the myth, the legend, the future of boxing, that is Virgil Ortiz Jr., fighting out of Grand Prairie, Texas. Man, so, brother, what's your thoughts on that? What'd you think of the fight?
Man, I mean, just as I predicted, yesterday itself. Virgil continues to solidify himself, and I keep saying it. You got the champions. You got two of them, but Crawford and Errol Spence, and then it's the rest. When we talk about the rest, when we talk about the youth, when we talk about the best contender at this particular time, the number one for me in my eyes, Virgil Ortiz. Listen, he's a guy that when he sits in this corner and listens, by the way, first fight with this new trainer, but it looked like he even said it in the first few rounds, he just really didn't listen. He didn't really stick to the game plan, and he wanted to do what Virgil does best. He wanted to exchange, he wanted to brawl, he wanted to give action, he wanted to entertain the fans, the thousands of fans that went up to the Dickies Arena here in Fort Worth, Texas. Shout out! Continues to bring fights here, and hopefully that continues to happen. Excite his fans, his local fans, and he just did that. He listened to the corner afterwards, and this is a guy that takes risks. This is a guy that's got some great boxing skills. This is a guy that wants to entertain the people and wants to continue to prove that he belongs, at the top contender at the welterweight. And if you ask me, Sean, right now, he did just that. He beat someone who's never been stopped the way he was stopped yesterday. He worked his way into him, breaking him apart. And this is what great boxers do, right? They stick to a game plan. They try to jab. They still get consistent on the body punches, that's where finally broke them down. And a lot of people think that, even if you're a great skill boxer, you got great talent, you got great power, you're going to knock him out real quickly. That could happen, but that's not the case in Virgil. Virgil little by little, by his jab, by his great combinations, he's going to start getting into the body. And he did just that over and over and over until finally he landed that body punch that just really brought him down. And it's just after that, it was just, shout out to McKinson. I mean, you could see the caliber of opponent he is. You could see that he came in very, very prepared for this fight. And he had a lot of opportunity and a lot to win. And even though he lost, he still has a lot to win because it's proven right now that, any of the other guys can actually fight McKinson. Any of the other, youngsters can actually go into. I'm not saying he's going to be in a gatekeeper status. He's still young enough to be able to entertain us and give us some great fights. But that just says that, there's another individual out there at top 5 at this particular time. Virgil Ortiz, Boots Enos. You have also as well Ben Connor. All right, and then what was this other guy he fought last week? A couple of weeks ago. Chico, is it Chico? I forgot his name. Yeah, he's number 4, and then number 5, you have him, McKinson, that he's still gonna give a lot of problems to some of these other boxers. So I'm pretty excited about that. But the other hand, man, Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas. I mean, Grand Prairie in the house. Great win, great victory, and I just wish that this kid gets an opportunity in the future, man.
Sorry about that. Yeah, definitely. He did his thing. Shout out. And shout out to everybody listening in. JC, the man, Remy, what's up, man? What's up? Danny PR 78 in the house. Appreciate you, brother. Remy says Sandy, Ryan, Dalton Smith, Merlene Esparza, Virgil Ortiz Jr. Woo, got a woo going on. Man, salute to the brother from another mother. Salutes to Bruce Goss in the house, man. Much respect. We appreciate you. So, yeah. Here's the thing, like I definitely was impressed with Virgil. Yeah, at first I thought it was only maybe too many voices in the corner. Yeah, Manny Robles was the man, but it did seem like Virgil Sr. was taking the lead a lot more, which as far as giving the instruction, Virgil after the fight said he really wasn't listening. For the first 7 rounds, he wasn't impressed with his performance, he said himself. But then he settled down and just kind of did what he had to do and let the punches and the opportunities come to him. And he didn't force the action trying to get a knockdown, early on, which, clearly he was the more talented fighter. But yeah, like you said, shout out to Michael McKinson. And I was really impressed with his corner, by the way. His dad really has some good insight, some real good input on how to approach the fight. And they did have a game plan. They executed for the most part, but those body punches were just relentless, and it just wore him down, and it left him with really not much. And I will say that, for a guy that only has 0.9% knockout rate with only 2 knockouts in his 22 fights, Michael McKinson, I was impressed with his left hand was pretty impressive. It actually kind of pushed back Virgil like around in the 3rd or 2nd round. So he did have some moments, and he did create some problems. And it was I thought it was the first, but it's actually the second southpaw that he faced. Not a natural southpaw, but one who fights in the southpaw, and he switched it up. And I think he did have some success. A lot of people just had him winning the first, but I could see, the argument for him maybe winning 2 rounds, definitely that first round. And I think that he went into survival mode like around after the 6th round, but that's when he got hurt. And it's understandable at that point. And, he went out in the shield. He went out there, he tried to do what he could. But I have a greater respect because I didn't really know that much about him other than the Chris Congo fight, which, I don't want to place a fighter in a microcosm of just one fighter. But I was really impressed with overall just kind of his mindset and the fact that he was confident, and he tried his best to do what he could within the situation. So I was happy with the fight and with Virgil's performance. He definitely did come back strong. Come back from, not being able to fight before, coming back from the illness, and he looked strong, he looked powerful, and he looked in control. So he definitely does look like he's an elite fighter. And yeah, I'll go ahead and say that I'm ready for him to take that step and get another opportunity, another fight, hopefully sooner than later, if you know what I mean. So I'm definitely all for that. So with being impressed with him, what do you think is next? So we talk about the other fighters. It was an eliminator for WBO, WBA. That was actually announced at the press conference that they had on Thursday, the final presser. They announced it'd be eliminated from the WBA, and I was excited about that. But ultimately, we know this is boxing. Realistically, what do you see what's next for Virgil, and what do you want for Virgil, Manny? I can't hear you, brother. It looks like you're muted. If you could go out and come back.
I'm muted. No, I can still hear that other video. There's a video in the back of it. Not sure if is that you or is that me?
Oh, that's you.
Is that me? Oh,
Yeah.
Damn, I had it all the time. I guess it's from my phone. Anyhow, all right. So what do I want from Virgil Ortiz? Listen, I want a chance. I want an opportunity. There's a boy Hopper.
Hey!
No, we couldn't do it without you, man. We're jealous.
EnVivo.
EnVivo.
Desde Florida, man.
Listen, what I want for Virgil is something impossible right now. I want an opportunity for him to challenge any of these champions. And he's as humble as he is. You know, he had said it. You know, I know that Bud Crawford has got his hands tied up, but he wants a shot. He wants a shot to whomever, and he is ready. He's ready. He is proven. You're telling me that I got to fight whomever, I'll fight him. I fought Kapelaskas. Now I fight McKinson. Yeah, a lot of people were like, you know, what happened to him? Why did he have to, you know, stop the other fight? We talked about, you know, the condition that he had. He was overworked. He took some time off, and he came really strong. Man, I mean, let me tell you something. First few rounds for me and Virgil, I saw a beast inside of him. I think he needed to control himself a little bit more. But this guy was, he was getting punched a couple of times, and he was just being a beast, coming in and doing what he does best. The thing about it right now is the only thing that I would see is for having him starting to fight some of the other talent, you know, pool that we have at the 147. Would that be a Boots Enos fight? Would that something that interests the people? Absolutely. But, you know, when it comes to if I'm a promoter, if I'm a manager at this particular time, makes no sense because there's no belt in stake. And I think right now in Virgil's mind, he wants to be a world champion. He deserves the right to do that. And the sad thing about it is none of these champions are looking down, not because they're afraid of fighting, because I don't think neither of these guys or Virgil or Spence or Crawford are afraid of any of these guys. They just want to get this deal done. And so they're not looking for anything else. And I love the way Virgil expressed it last night. I know he's got a lot going on and he's caught up in certain things. I want my chance. I want my opportunity. I keep proving myself, and he's delivering. And not only that, he's got a very solid, strong fan base, which in fact, that's what promoters look for. They look for someone that they're going to bring in, buying in the pay-per-views, supporting his boxers, and be able to be there. And can you imagine if we have something major like Virgil Ortiz and Errol Spence here, right? It's two sanction bodies that he is a #1 mandatory. I figured he might go for the WBO. That may be Crawford. I can see that happening before even Errol Spence. But at the same time, man, what a frustrating time right now would be for Virgil Ortiz to maybe possibly settle for someone else that is not a champion. And it's got to be done at the end of this year. He's got to stay active. And he said it. I want to be able to stay active. I want to be able to fight at the end of the year. But most likely it's not going to be for a belt, but it'll probably be another top 5, top 6, maybe top 7. There are quite a few people in there. We'll mention some of them later on. But the reality is the fight that we want to be able to see is not a specific boxer. We want to be able to see at a championship caliber match we're going to see the true warrior, the true champion, you know, a guy that's not going to give up in the ring, a guy that can be, you know, they could be beating him throughout the fight, and he is going to find a way not only to get that fight going and beat him, but he's going to find a way to continue to entertain his fans. And that's why Virgil is so loved in the community out here. Grand Prairie and the house.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because let's go ahead and get to my brother, because we don't know how long we have him. Because, man,
I want peace.
I want problems always.
Hey, yo, Hopper in the house. What's up, brother?
What's up, bros? Yeah, man, I got a few minutes, man. Headed to the beach. We got a double-decker pontoon boat on deck, so just wanted to drop by and, share a few thoughts on last night's event. I did watch the entire, not the entire card. I watched Mighty Mo, Marlene Esparza, and the main event, of course. And Mighty Mo, he's our boy, and we love him, but he is who we always thought he was, man. Shout out to Blair the Flair Cobbs. He looked great. He dominated that fight. Mighty Mo just he looked completely out of it, like he wasn't there mentally. Or maybe Blair is just that good. I don't know, but great performance by Blair the Flair. Marlene Esparza, I think she left a lot to be desired. I think she was more of a weight bully. She looked huge compared to Guzman. And even then, I think Marlene kind of she's a slow plotter, but hey, she won, so it is what it is. And Virgil looked great. The only thing I will say about Virgil, I think the home crowd might have made him a little more anxious than what he normally is. I think he was headhunting a little too much. I think maybe focus a little more on the body, and then the head will come with it afterwards. But I think that's the effect of fighting in your home crowd. You get a little anxious and you want to get him out of there. I think if he focused on the body, he probably would have gone out a lot more sooner than.
Well, I mean, he tried. Just keep in mind that he did starting to try, but he did said something interesting afterwards. And they asked him what happened. It's just we think we know better, but once I started listening to my corner, things gotten a little bit better after the third round. And you're absolutely right. Virgil has to be able to stick to a game plan and have his ear open to listen. You know what I mean? So
definitely. And you brought up some great, interesting points that first of all, we do have a respective disagreement. Like I think that actually we didn't see what we normally see out of, and I'm not being an apologist for him. If I am, hey, I am what I am. But I think Mighty Mo hasn't looked the same since he fought Ramirez like 3 years ago, honestly. So I think that, and even from there, I think he looked worse than that. And I know he's dealing with a lot with the passing of Stacy, as we all are. That was very, very close, and he missed weight coming back from the hand injury, and not making apologies because he was still the 3-1 favorite. I thought he was going to win handily, and Blair Cobb went in there. He did his thing, and he had a game plan. Romo, that's a great coach in his corner, and they had a good strategy, and it played out. So shout out to them for that. As far as Marlene Esparza, usually I don't go there as far as like ladies in their weight, but I was kind of noticing like she didn't seem
huge.
Yeah, man, like they
compared to Guzman, man.
Yeah, like
I saw him in the middle of the ring. I'm like, Marlene is a big girl compared to her.
Yeah, man, they need to get a nutritionist or something, respectfully.
Walking her down. She was just walking her down, and Guzman's punches, like they were having like zero effect on Marlene. They're just smirking, smiling, and just landing her power shots. Marlene was finding a home for that overhand right early on, and it just seemed like whatever Guzman threw, it wasn't phasing Marlene, man. She was just big.
Yeah, definitely. Let me get to these comments real quick, and thanks so much for checking this out. We appreciate it. Steven Ruiz, let's go. Hey, yo. Nancy, love her. All right, so with Women Crushing It Wednesday, Virgil was very poised and thoughtful when answering all questions after the fight. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's always like that. Too, man.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to
wow, Steven.
Shout out to all of our media people who were there last night. I saw you all, Tommy. I saw you, Steven. I saw you, the Spit Bucket. Yeah, my man's out there from the Spit Bucket that were there too as well. Everyone, man, had a good time except I'm kicking myself, but I did enjoy the entire card. The entire day of boxing. But yeah, definitely we really wanted to be there with you guys, and unfortunately we couldn't make it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're broke. So yeah, shout out Chicano Prophet, man. Salute in the house. El Chile.
Wepa.
I want to get why I got my brother Harper on the line, because man, it's about that time to talk some boxing. Hallelujah. What I'm worried about, because I know, obviously we're biased from the standpoint of Texas boxers. We want them to do well. We've seen, I was thinking about this too. I look back, I remember seeing my, Maurice Hooker's second fight, back when he fought in Frisco in 2011 in a minor league baseball stadium. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of his fights, and I think that, obviously, Father Time has kind of caught on to him. Because honestly, up until yesterday, I've always enjoyed watching his fights. They were always entertaining. You know,
Well,
good
you can
batter
see a
and
glance of what he was when he
gives as much
started
as
at the
he takes.
140 pounds, and then all of a sudden he was clumsy. He was very amateur. He was wobbly, like I mean, it wasn't like a Mighty Mo. It's like a last minute replacement, someone that came in. And if I'm a casual and I've never seen Mighty Mo, or even I don't know that he was a former world champion, I'd be like, wow. Really? Former world champion? What kind of belt he had? No, he earned the belt. And, he fought a great fight against Ramirez, but you're right. After the Ramirez fight, and I just don't know, maybe moving at 147, he lost his speed, he lost his groove. He'd got to change of training at that time. And then, things that are happening around, of course, the Stacy is still in the back of his mind, but I thought that would actually help him, push him a little bit, according to a lot of our sources. That was the case. But then we did see some of that. Okay, there it is. There's the Mighty Mo that I kind of know.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit too late in the fight. Was it Cobb that actually pulled back and allowed himself to get opened? Was he tired too? This is Cobb's, I believe, one of the best actually fights in his career at this particular time. Do you see what I'm saying? So I mean, it was great performing by Cobb, but at the same time, let's not really get too hype about Cobbs and expect really a lot, because it's just a stepping right now. No, and I'm saying it, because he had been calling a lot of people the 147. He'd been talking the EJ Errol Spence name has come out previously. So when you start talking about the monsters and you haven't been a Monsters Inc. yet, I mean, you gotta be very cautious. And so, a great fight for him. I have no problem with Cobb. This is like the third fight I've seen of him. He has progressed. He has improved tremendous. But I just didn't see it as he got some great knockdowns. And it was, for me, it was more about on the Mighty Mo side rather than, wow, that was orchestrated and handled by Cobb. Initially, which he did some great combos, but it was just Almighty Mo who's not exactly there.
And the thing about Mighty Mo, and like you said, Gringo, yes, we are from Texas. We love our Texas boys, and I don't want to make excuses for him, but if you go back in the history of boxing, the jump from 140 to 147 is always a difficult one. It's always a grueling one. So many examples just off the top of my head. I can think of what Adrian Broner did. He went up 2 divisions, but just a lot of people do struggle with the 140, 147 adjustment. When Mighty Mo was at 140, his fight against Cholo Salcedo, instant classic. When he went to Turbo Flanagan's home neck of the woods and got the belt over there, that was classic Mighty Mo. So his best run was at 140. It's like when these guys jump up to 147. It's a difficult adjustment, and again, I don't want to make excuses for him, but I think they're weight classes for a reason, but the 147 division is the money division in boxing, so I think that's why a lot of guys do it. I agree with you, Gringo. Pre-Ramirez, Mighty Mo, that was as fun as it gets for Mighty Mo, man. And then afterwards, now, what's the word you use, Gringo? Journey, man. Hey, hate to say it about our boy, but it is what it is, man. Journeyman at this point, especially they're matching you up against Blair Cobbs, and you get handled like that. You're gonna be a name pretty much moving forward.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that the Zone actually called it out themselves. They said it's a get out of town fight, as far as like between Cobb and Mighty Mo, and that's kind of what it felt like. But it seemed like mentally, Mighty Mo Hooker wasn't there. Definitely wasn't even there compared to how he was, because he was a warrior when he broke his hand against Virgil Ortiz. Even that version of Mighty Mo wasn't there. And again, you got to give a guy's credit. Now, why have you? Because I know you're getting ready to get out of here. You're on vacation, Hopper. Real quick, what I'm scared of as a fan, and we talked about Cobb, I think because there is that league persona from the standpoint of boxing, how things are kind of a microcosm and isolated amongst themselves. Do you have any fear like I do? Because I woke up in a cold sweat fearing of this. Is Golden Boy setting up Virgil Ortiz's next opponent to be Blair the Flair Cobb? Can you see it? And how horrible would that be?
It would. I don't think it'd be horrible, because the belts are pretty much being held hostage right now. There's very little chance for Virgil Ortiz to fight for a championship belt until that whole mess with the fight that should not be named on this show finally happens. You know, I mean, I'm talking about Crawford and Spence. So I don't think Virgil has many options in terms of trying to get a championship belt. So like Manny says, he's got to stay active, and Blair is the name. Does Golden Boy want to match up two of their names together, Virgil against Blair? I mean, shit. What else? Who else can Virgil fight? I mean, the options are kind of thin, man. Honestly.
Thin. They're just thin.
Hey, yo, just in. They made that fight. No, they didn't. So as far as like it's crazy how be careful what you ask for. When I thought about that, and actually I heard it on another show. Shout out to Mighty Max. He kind of mentioned that. And I was like, what the hell, Mighty Max? So I was like, but man, you know what? He's right. They are kind of setting that up. You know, once they have you on the same card, you know, you beat a common opponent. Yeah, so I could kind of see that. And like the Alex Arocha fight, I'm like, man, please give me that. Give me that before. But at the same time, they're building him up as well. So it is a promotional game.
Give me the rematch, Blair the Fair against.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, there's business unsolved there, and I think that Blair was having a really good. He was having decent fight before he got knocked down in the ninth round against Rocha, and that's the guy I was thinking earlier. You know, in the top four when it comes to best contenders out there. But when it comes to for me to Blair, yeah, I love to see him getting a rematch with Rocha. Or maybe even probably match him up against Virgil. However, for me, I don't care as a fan. I don't really care to see that because I know what's going to be the outcome. It's just there's so much superiority right now when it comes to Virgil. Virgil is in a different zone. You can see him the way not only how calm he is, the way he speaks, the way he gets ready, the game face time. You know, the consistency of his combinations. You know, he can take a punch, he can give a punch, he can counter punch. I mean, this is the way Virgil will break you down in the body. I just don't think that Cobb right now it's at that level. But if you ask me, and it may be difficult to do it, you know, and it might be not be a super champion, but I would like to see even Virgil possibly maybe fighting the Reggie Stanionis. I mean, that will be a pretty good fight for Virgil right now.
That will be a step up.
Isn't he affiliated with the PBC though?
But exactly, but we've seen that Golden Boy.
That's true, but yeah.
But Golden Boy may have better chance and opportunity to get a fight against some PBC fighters rather than getting.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah.
So
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Staniotis thing would, you know, make my mouth water. I mean, I would love that.
Get a Reggie, get him a champion, and then from that point on.
So boxing organization. I mean, they're gonna have to create some kind of belt, I guess.
Yeah, and it's
we feel sorry for you, champ. You get a belt.
Yeah, we feel sorry for you because Spence and Crawford don't want to seem to get their shit together. I don't know, negotiations hit a snag, and they're holding everything hostage. And I think the IBF is usually the one that plays that draws a hard line on the stand. And hey, you either fight your mandatory or we strip you. So that's probably the best.
I mean, the IBF he would have to fight Boot Enos. He's the mandatory there. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the
Virgil
best chance that we got, honestly, because the WBC, the WBA, WBO, they're not gonna. You know, they're pretty soft when it comes to enforcing mandatories, but the IBF don't really play. So, I mean, does he want to go that route? So that's that's his best option, I think. But I'm gonna head on out of here, fellas. I just wanted to jump in, say what's up, love you guys, love boxing.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate it, brother.
Until next time, man. Boxing keeps rolling. My last thought: the month of August is fire. Tune in. We're gonna be talking a lot of boxing. We got so many good matches this month.
Man, can't wait. Can't wait, brother.
Enjoy the beach.
Catch y'all on the flip side.
We're out, man. All right, appreciate it. So let's get to some of these comments. Chicano Prophet in the house. I hope Virgil stays busy and takes time to improve. Absolutely, man. I'm right there with you. Absolutely.
I think he does, and he's. I mean, I'll guarantee you, I'll take a run tomorrow. Not today. He's probably gonna take it easy. But I'll take a run tomorrow and Tuesday. Now I'm gonna see him running around here. Yeah, that's the type of guy he is, and he would go back to the gym and grind and keep on working on some of the things he needs to work on. Maybe a lot of people feel like, he doesn't need to really work on anything. Well, he is a guy that always wants to continue to improve, he understands his position right now, and that's what I love about it. You cannot hear his frustration when he's talking to the media about, I'm not getting a chance, I'm not getting an opportunity, whining and crying. Yes, I get you deserve a chance, but he understands his position and understands that those two belts are hostage, and they're about to make one of the biggest fights in this era right now, and he understands he could be part of that when it comes to maybe challenging any of those winners. But on the meantime, who can actually really keep Helm active and improving? That's what we're about to see, and I'm hoping that we can see him again here in Texas again. We'll go there, Sean. We'll do our shit early enough to make sure we are there. But man, I really enjoyed the town. Went crazy. Our medias are loading up all social medias. Check them out, guys. These guys that worked their asses off this last week, bringing you interviews with B-Hob, the Alien, bringing you with Oscar De La Hoya, bringing interviews with every single boxer that was at that card last night. Great job, guys. We love your content. Keep grinding. And one thing for sure is we definitely missed some of the best pictures that we could see in town, and that was from Stacy. The pain's still going around here in the Metroplex, and have a rest in peace. We definitely miss her.
Absolutely, rest in peace, rest in paradise to the Queen, Stacy Snyder. Amazing. So still hanging over that tragic loss. Absolutely. And yeah, you get a great point as far as the Dallas media did their thing. I'm in H-Town, Texas, man, making it rain. I wish it would rain. We're in a drought. I see that G-Funky and Nancy are talking weather, and it makes me sad because it's hot every day. Speaking of boxing, though, in the house, yes, Chicano, we need to see these boxers fight 3-4 times a year. Absolutely, man. I would love that. And that was one thing I definitely did like that, Virgil said about he wants to fight again. And realistically, man, look, we could talk about what we like and about them being mandatories and this and that, but we all know it is a business. And realistically, even though I don't like it, it does seem like the planets are aligning for Alex Rocha fight, maybe being the second option, but I think Cobb. So I think Cobb is a possibility, especially being an in-house fight. Then I would say Alex Rocha
would being there at the co-main event too. I mean, not the co-main event, but being the third fight of the night.
Yeah, he's a name.
Ladies. I mean, hey, this exposure. It's a De La Hoya, Golden Boy, and the zone. I mean, not a bad card to be honest, if you ask me. I mean, I think what I've heard from people is hey, little small card, but it had some action, had some moments, and the start of the night, of course. That is Virgil Ortiz. So don't he wants to stay here in Dallas and keep fighting. Don't take him anywhere else because his fan base is growing and it will continue to grow.
Yeah, it will continue to grow. I do think that he can sell in Cali as well. He's got a friendly style. And one thing that I definitely do appreciate, and I don't want that to start happening, kind of going to where it becomes an expectation that's not realistic. The whole knockout streak. When I know he's going to knock out his opponent, but I don't look at it as the first thing. I'm looking for his development, the boxing, the IQ, the adjustments he's making for different style opponents. And it seems like I kind of felt like that's starting to build momentum. But again, that was an article I read out of ESPN, and they're all about creating gimmicks and narratives. Chicano Prophet says, "Gringo, that's me. Is it true that Spence dipped out of Texas because Buzz pulled up?" I don't know. Sources say no. That has nothing to do with it.
Bud doesn't want anything to do here in Texas. And I tell you what, bring it to AT&T Stadium and get 50,000-60,000 people in there, and 85% will be Spence fans. I mean, just only a little bit of Nebraska that could probably get down here. They're afraid of Texas. Yeah, man, bro, tell me about it.
No, but yeah, it is kind of weird. I mean, I got to be honest though, it is kind of weird that Spence didn't, show up at some point. Not even because of Bud being there or not being there, just because it's a boxing event, supporting the local scene. But again, he's a busy guy. He's got things to do, and I know he's a family man.
You think it was more because of the back and forth, and they didn't want to hear it? I've had conversations with the media, and just very, very few who were. Who, when I listened to some of their interviews, just very few poked right, on that subject itself, which is it's a subject I talked about. If I see Crawford in front of me, I mean, what do you think I'm gonna ask him? What the heck is going on? As fans, we're dying to hear that, and I think that at times some of these guys, I'm gonna support one of my guys that's fighting in there. It's not my time to shine, and all these media they continue to ask, and I know that they want to. So maybe it could be that. It could be that he want no part of that. Maybe he want no distractions. Maybe he feels like, people are, throwing at him and it's not his fault. It's only Buck's camp. I mean, he did it. We did it. He did it. We're never going to find out exactly who exactly is. I heard the other day as we're meeting with some of our great media from here in the Dallas that it's not actually the Bud camp. There's actually more stuff that people don't know that they don't bring out onto the public, and it has to do with Earl Spence camp. So I don't know what to believe anymore, because I mean we just got to make sure we make this fight happen. It's actually holding back a lot of great talent at the 147 when you got the belts hostage. And I'm not saying the belt is everything in life, because you can have a great match. You can have a great match. Boots Ennis against Virgil Ortiz. That is a fantastic match. Titleless, but still that's not going to take away from the whole attention that this fight and the action that could happen inside the ring with those two guys. But when you have a belt in the middle, that's the goal. That's what you trained for. That's what you started in the in the sport of boxing, is to go after that gold, to make sure you have a chance and opportunity, and it hasn't happened yet. I mean, great, you the mandatory, you got that interim belt, but that's not the same as being world champion.
Yeah, I excuse me, I hear you. And we got some comments I want to get to, and touch on that. Steven Ruiz in the house. He didn't even want to talk to the media.
I figured that one, Steven. I know.
He's
I know.
Angry guy, and that's the narrative. He's so angry. Don't get him angry. Okay, so hilarious how I was told Mighty Max I was going to tweet something simple and bring out Spence lovers. No offense, you guys. No, I mean, here, I'm a boxing lover. So, I mean, I'm actually frustrated by both of them. So, I really don't go on Twitter unless I'm going to retweet somebody else's stuff. So,
I'm honest too. I get the shit myself too. I get a lot of people asking. A lot of people know that I'm a big Spence fan. And a lot of people know that I like Crawford, what he brings to the sport. And a lot of people know that I'm still iffy on when I look at the resume and why Bud Crawford is being categorized as a pound for pound number one. I do not see that, but I respect the people.
I mean,
I get a lot of shit.
Man, he's categorized as a god, man. Like, he just walks in and, don't get him angry. And that's what frustrates me. Like, look, I understand he's extremely talented and, I get all that, but he doesn't walk on water, and he's not a god. He's a man, and he is 35 years old. You can't,
right.
That's the stat we know. And
but what is going to happen, Gringo? Are you going to put the excuse when finally that happens, when you're 36, 37, and then all of a sudden now we go, because Crawford's fans, they're hardcore fans, and you know that. And I don't want anything to be in the middle of any excuses. Oh, well, it's 2 years too late to make that fight.
I don't. That's the thing. To their credit, because they are fans of a person and not a sport, they're going to, go with whatever, and credit to them. You need that. You need fanboys. You need that. Either, if you don't, you need to help your sport grow. You need things that are going to help perpetuate it to move forward, and you have viewers. So whether the viewer is, hardcore, fanboy, whether it's non-biased or just a fan of the sport or just wants something to watch with violence, it's all kind of a microcosm of things kind of coming together. So let's get to these other comments real quick. Philly Irish Drew EnVivo, fight will not happen. Thurman gonna fight one of them next. I mean, I'm kind of at that point too. But yeah, you talk about another guy I do not have the highest regard for at this point. Man, Thurman, oh my goodness. But let's keep it going with the comments. I think Bud, he also wanted to respect Mo and keep his eyes on him until he stepped up to Blair's team. Yeah, and that was first, like when Mighty Mo had missed the weight by the 3 pounds. I'm a big Spence and Crawford fan, but come on, make it happen already. Absolutely, absolutely.
And there'll be a lot of people like Remy there. There'll be a lot of people that I'm a fan, but I know the magnitude of this fight, and I'm not going to be out there, talking about that I'm rooting for Span. He's the best. I think a lot of people are like him. They understanding the magnitude of this fight, but even though if you select one, then the other, you know that both of them are dangerous, and either or these guys can actually win the fight. I'm starting to hear, Buck Crawford will knock out Spence in 3 rounds, 4 rounds. I mean, I don't really see that. And I think the fans needs to understand and have the mentality that these two guys are in their primes. These is the cream of the crop right now when it comes to 147 and probably most likely boxing itself. So glad, Remy, you're staying neutral in here. I'm staying neutral. I favor always someone. Love ESJ. Love Crawford. I am favoring at this particular time ESJ, but I'm still maintaining myself neutral because all we want is to see this fucking fight. That's it. That's all we want. Whoever wins, I don't care. I'm not going to wake up the next morning on Sunday recap and I'm going to be talking about, Spence lost. No. It's going to be a fantastic fight regardless who wins. Just get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ship is sailed, man. I mean, I know some people are keeping the hype alive, and clearly, I mean, we've talked about it way too much.
The ship is sailed, Gungo, in your eyes, in what you've heard. What do you think is the cost of some of when the negotiations are going in? It's just not getting anywhere.
Right. I think because they realize their audience. You have to understand your audience. You don't understand business, right? So I think the simple fact that we'll do and say whatever, we'll complain, but at the end of the day, we'll pay for it. So they're trying to milk the cow as much as they can until there's nothing left. Speaking of your man, Keith, one-time Thurman, the greatest nickname in boxing.
My name's one time for a reason. I lost one time.
True, that's true. I like logic, and there's
but you know what? At the end of the day, then I do really like him having in the picture because he's probably the only one that's got the cojones. And someone would say, like they told me already, but Manny, he's got nothing else. He wants to challenge some of the guys. But hey, listen, I still need to give some shout out to Keith Thurman for coming back the way he did, performing the way he did on someone that is being more active than him and's got some great fights in spelt. And now he's waiting on the driver's seat to see what would happen. Now, what I would see, what I want to see, I want to happen is I want to see him against, hey, why don't we match this former champion that still has something left against one of these top, youngsters contender. Let's get into Boots Enos, right? Let's draw a little small tournament out there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and take away the belts. You guys don't want to fight for them. You know what? IBF, WBA, WBO, you done it. You did it at 140. Josh Taylor, 2 belts out. I don't care whether I need to pay for those sanction fees, whether I need to have him in here, whether I want to collect. He's still going to have his own for life. However, I'm not going to keep a belt hostage. If you're not going to defend it, why don't you just turn it in? There you go. Let's go see some of these youngsters going at it. And I got to tell you, it's like a piece of cheese with a bunch of rats around it, right? You put that cheese there, it's going to That's what these youngsters want. They want that chance. They want opportunity. There's 5 of them right there, guys. I'm going to name it again. Number 1, Virgil. Number 2, Enos. Conor Ben, Rocha, and who else? Cobb. I mean, come on, guys. We got, and I'm not talking about some of the other ones. Keith Thurman's in the mix as well.
Well,
right? I'm just talking about the future. And there's a lot when we think about the future.
I mean, just and that's a nice list. But yeah, for me, I would say that I would have Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, Conor Ben, Stanionis, and then Butev, and Rocha kind of on the outside. Like,
okay, I mean, Stanionis, he's a champion right now. I only mention contenders, young contenders that are going to be the future of the 147 pounds. And these are these 5 guys that we talked about. Blair, you need to settle with Rocha first.
I think that
at least.
I think that even though he won last night, I think he's still he's
far away.
He's just
the furthest away.
But let's get to news and notes.
Xander Zayas. I'm gonna go USA.
Woo!
Wow. Thank you, Raheel.
He is. American
He's
citizen.
back. Xander Zayas, man. So also Teofimo Lopez is back as well. All right. So we're excited about that.
I am.
Can't wait.
NABO title for the kid. I know a lot of people are not caring about additional different titles. Listen, an NABO title, that would mean that you at least consider top 15 somewhere around there when it comes to a division and an organization. And, the kid deserves that. And he's going to have a very good test in front of him. I can't wait to see him coming back. Had to pull out in the last fight against Berlanga, which a lot of us thought that it was the best thing that happened in that shit show that night with Berlanga. But at the same time, he is ready to continue to entertain his fan base. So I'm excited. Papi, you got everything ahead of you. Stay calm, one day at a time and keep grinding because he's looking fantastic, Sean. He's looking freaking good, man.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to something that Nancy said. I don't know if she's still listening, but we love you, Nancy. So yeah, I want to see, active fighters. And last year, Xander was crazy active. He fought 7 times. So obviously you're going to have some, you're not going to be able to maintain that, even though we would like to think that. So getting him back in the ring, I'm so excited for it. 154, let's go. I know you're not as high on the division, but the thing that I do appreciate about division, the fighters are actually fighting. Their opponents are actually coming together and fights are being made. Granted, because of, it's primarily PBC division and they kind of keep things in-house. But hey, it's still happening, right?
You think about it, Gringo. You think about it, Gringo, right now. If he would have stayed at 147, we talked about the pool, the contenders that are ready. Xander is still not ready yet at the championship contender level.
Well, see,
did you see how you had to fight for all these top 5 contender future champs that we talked about? At the 154, it's a little bit different. Now he's got a much better chance. Yeah, you got the main champion in there, which I believe we will not see Xander fighting Charlo. Charlo will probably move up.
Yeah,
or maybe, but the chances of him being able to start solidifying himself and getting those future opportunities are right there. And I'm just pretty glad and excited to see him winning some kind of title, going for after some kind of title. Against, an experienced boxer, Elias Espadas, 22-4. He's well known when it comes to he's not the elite level, but this is a very good chance and a very good matchup to match him up with different style. Mexico contra Puerto Rico, and he had said it once. I can't wait, right? We're gonna break it down before that, so we'll talk about boy Hopper. I know he's gonna be very emotional, but he's gonna be rooting. He's gonna be doing the right thing. Hopper, if you're still listening, you're going to be doing the right thing and rooting for Xander Zayas rather than rooting for the flag of Elias Espadas in Mexico.
Oh, man, good stuff. Let's get to these comments. These are some good comments that we have here. I want to get to my man, Chicano Prophet. Good call, Manny. I'm neutral myself while favoring Spence in the fight. All right, good stuff. Philly Irish Drew EnVivo. Ortiz will have problems with guys with movement and power. That's fair to say. Steven Ruiz, Ben hasn't wanted the smoke when presented to him. Hearn turned it down. I will say this, that is a fair statement, but I like the way he's been brought up. And I think, honestly, I think he's had a more challenging, a more respectful resume than even Boots. I mean, Boots' best opponents is Lipinets and Delorme. So, no. All right,
but,
so
and that's the right way to do it, because keep in mind there's no way to be sprinting right now. There's nothing in stake right now. There's nothing that Conor Benn and Eddie Hearn can do right now to speed up things. All they need to have is patient and keep getting them opponents and continue to work in his craft, and that's what they've been doing. He's just a too good of a boxer. The problem is 147. You're just going to fight top 15, top 20 guys, but you're never going to be fighting those top 4.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was something that I was kind of dancing around, but since we could have put it out there. And Remy, thanks for the comment, man. He says Xander Zayas is special.
He's special.
Believe that. He definitely is special. But yeah, I think that was part of it. Him campaigning at 154 just makes more sense. There's less obstacles for them to go to where they ultimately want to go, and that's a title, a major title. Philly also had another comment for us. Thank you. Xander should be the main event. Don't think that Tio will be an elite star again. Wow. Interesting that. And what's your thoughts? Do you agree with that? Tio being a star? Oh, you agree with?
I mean, Tio is the brand right now. Tio is the former, what they call it, undisputed. Maybe he just unified, but they call him the undisputed 135 pounds. He had beat Lomachenko, a guy that's been still talked about, that he can actually rule the division again. That a guy that's going to have the most, the biggest fights at 135. That's Lomachenko. So he beat him. So you have to make sure you continue to build around his name at the 140-pound level. So Teofimo, it's going to be there. But I think Sander Sayas, you'll give him a year, and he's going to start headlining to the point. And I'm not sure if this is going to sit well, not for the Puerto Rican fans or boxing fans or the Latinos, but I think eventually he's going to knock out Berlanga from being the main attraction. And Sander will probably move up into the main event.
Well, let me speak on that real quick from the gringo section of the room. He already has, in my mind. I keep wondering.
In your mind, but when you look at some of the pay-per-views, not pay-per-views, some of the matches that involves so many of these Puerto Ricans, Sander Sayas move up to 2.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, as far as in my mind, in my heart, in my eyes, he's clearly head and shoulders above Berlanga in so many ways. Berlanga's a name, obviously, but as far as like who do I view as a more potential of being a true champion and someone I'm excited to actually watch, like when Berlanga's being announced, obviously I know it's going to be good for us to kind of talk about and go back and forth, but as far as like a fight fan, just as far as boxing and enjoying the sport and seeing somebody with immense skill put on a show and a great performance, give me Xander all day, every day, single day of the week. So yeah, I'm definitely on that. So
and
real
quick
on
these
acknowledging
that.
Zayas versus Fundora next year. Manny, what's your thoughts on that?
I love it. I like it. I still need to see a little bit more of Sander working out with some more challenges, and I think that's what Top Rank is doing.
He's being humble. Xander by stoppage, violent stoppage.
Yeah, but at the same time, Fundora. I mean, Fundora it's probably moving up for bigger and better things. He is actually the interim. He's actually the next in line at the WBC against Charlo. Tim Ziu and Charlo are about to square that up
in January. Yeah,
in January, and then you're gonna probably have a someone waiting. That will be Fundora. So Sander will be a little bit away in the line right now. It's okay. He just started to form the line, and he's be pointing on it, and the line is actually halfway through. Winning the NABO, that starts solidifying him. He's going to start having some more opportunities to fight some of these guys at the super welterweight. You got a lot of people that he can actually fight with, and hey, one of them just moved up to 154. He actually also as well did a really good job. Danny Garcia, I know that's PBC and ESPN, Top Ranks, but these are some of the fights that I can see Sander Sayas in a future matching up pretty well. I cannot see Sander in a year from now fighting Abraña Castaño. I cannot see a Sander in a year from now fighting Madru Bob.
Really?
I cannot see him fight Tony Harrison, Liam Smith. So these are some of the guys that eventually he will need to fight him, but not in a year. I think he still needs to be developed.
I agree he has to be developed, but that's where I respectfully disagree. I think that eventually, even if you have them lower tier titles, once you start getting ranked, you're gonna face somebody.
You're gonna have to, but I wouldn't say in the next year to fight some of these guys. Maybe someone will come up of the ones that I didn't get to mention, and then we're like, oh, that makes sense right now. But there's still a lot of guys that are still pretty good.
And we'll have to see. So we'll definitely have to see. So let's get this Berlanga hate out the way real quick. Berlanga hate. Berlanga isn't it. The air is gone out of the balloon. God damn. Thank you very much, Stephen, for that comment.
Isn't it? Are you talking about isn't it to become a world champion at 168 eventually, or isn't it the guy that should represent boxing, the Latinos, and the community of Puerto Rico? Is that what you're saying, Stephen? Because if that's the case, I totally agree. He is not the super champion. I don't know who's the Puerto Rican super champion going to be right now. All that I know is Berlanga does not represent, not even with his boxing skills, not even with the way he conducts themselves outside the ring or with his fans. Too much ego. A lot of people starting to rub. It's tasting sour. It's like eating those Sour Patch Kids that they're so sour and they got spice into it that you end up just throwing it away. Sadly enough, that's the way we feel. Are we hoping we see a much better Berlanga and improve along the way? Hey, maybe that's a possibility. We've seen a lot of great talented individuals are very cocky and they start leaving the highlight. But when they get to a certain level, they mature enough and they tone it back a little bit. Danny Garcia did it. See how humble he became years later. But Danny Garcia in his corner, right? I'm about to see maybe Teofimo and his father, maybe they'll tone it down a little bit. Now 154, right? But do you guys remember, right, when they started, you know, Aiden Broner and his show about combing his hair and being about billions? He had to tone it down. Until Berlanga doesn't tone it down against the public, against the fans, and humble himself, he's not going to be likable.
All right, let's get to these comments real quick, and then we do some final thoughts and get out of here. Man, nothing like some Berlanga hate in the house. Getting Manny fired up. Berlanga main event. His NABF is embarrassing, in my opinion. That's a strong opinion, brother. Yeah. Tony Harrison wants Danny Garcia. Don't we all?
That's a good one.
Bruce
That's a good match.
Sander is 6 to 9 months. Beat some of these guys at 154.
I can see that happening. Working his craft. Yep, absolutely.
Sander is that star. Yes.
Yes, he is.
Remy, it's true. Berlanga hate. Yes.
He earned it himself.
Some guys himself with one hand. Damn. Bring the pain. And for the win, Remy has, I need Berlanga to improve.
He needs to. We all got hope. He does. We got hope. We got hope.
When he says
my hope is that he can be more approachable, more charismatic, and improve in his boxing skills. And one of those are going to fail. I hope that it's not the boxing skills, because at least if you earn that, you can gain the trust of your fans.
Just my experience, just in life in general, boxing, inside of boxing, usually humble comes with the fall. So I think him being humbled would be, you know, not just getting knocked down, but getting beat. But sometimes people are who they are. You know, you can't stop what you are. You can't stop being who you are.
They are who they thought they were.
Right. So, final thoughts, Manny.
All right, final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. ESPN and showcased an early fight in which I got an opportunity to finally see the comeback of one of the greatness from the UK, that is Michael Conley, after that devastating loss in Lee Wood. Man, I have to give it up for Michael Conley and his team for, after being taken out in a stretcher 6 months later, they come in and make a fight against one of the strongest punchers, Colombian Marriaga. Marriaga had it really difficult to really come in. I think that, you know, a lot of people, I heard a lot of comments like, oh, boring fight or this and that. And I laugh about that because I call some of those things. But listen, I got to tell you something. Mike Conley came with a plan. He knew how powerful, you know, Marriaga could be in the inside. He kept them outside, jabbing through great combinations. It was a matter of time. Marriaga had no option to really take some chances, take some risk. It paid off, and they have some cojones to take this fight after that devastating loss against Lee Wood. And let me tell you something, what next for Conley? I would love to see a Lee Wood rematch. That will definitely bring in the best of Conley. I still don't, you know, at the 126 pounds right now, I still see him being able to still work his way to become a world champion. In there, he is still recognized as one of the best international fighters. That Lee Wood fight, that was devastating in the 12th round. Got knocked out of the ring, pulled out on a stretcher, but 6 months later, he came in and performed the way he did and beat, yes, not a washed out Marriaga, a little bit up in age, but we all know that Marriaga has that 1, 2, 3 second combination punch that can actually hurt and damage people. Give it up. Give some prop to this kid, man. It's not freaking easy to do a show like you did a couple months ago and then come back and find an opponent like that. I give it up to him. Shout out to his team for having the cojones to do it, man. And boy, did I really enjoy part of that fight. Saturday afternoon.
Right. Saturday afternoon delight, man. And I want to send a special shout out to
I cannot believe my eyes.
CompuBox. Why did you not post your stats from the fight? What the hell? I couldn't even do my segment today. I hate you guys so much. But no, who I do love though.
Emotional, damn it.
Everybody who tuned in live on Facebook and on YouTube. Much love to everybody in the chat.
Thanks,
Wish for everybody listening to the audio version of this show. And we are until next morning, bitches. We out.